was falling into this very typical pit. When people buying good cameras, they're buying good microphones, lights, and all, and stuff like that. They have this idea that if I will have a good camera, probably I will be doing very good content. But in the end, it turns out that they have to sell everything away, because the thing is not about like the camera and microphone. The thing is about content. So they never record any video and nothing. And how to avoid it. So basically, you buy a cheap webcam like I did, Logitech 920, the classics. Okay, the microphone is decent, the MV7. And I decided to record a video about some subject to prove myself that I will be doing content. And if the content will be good, and if I will publish it one day, then I will upgrade my camera. But at the moment, there is no obvious that I need a better camera. So I think this camera is okay. It's not good, but it's okay. At least it's good enough for me to record acceptable videos. And in case if these acceptable videos will be published and somebody will watch it, then maybe I will have reason or excuse to buy a good camera. And if not, then probably I will save some money, and I will stay with my video webcam, and probably that's enough. And I was thinking, what is the subject I would talk about today? And I decided that yesterday night I was kind of going to bed and thinking, what would be the subject I would cover in my first video. And I was thinking, like the subject could be about like that artificial intelligence and the art. Probably I'm late a little bit about this subject. It was popular about a year ago when this AI GPT-3 at that moment came out, and everybody was hyped about it. And now kind of a hype is a little bit lower. In one hand, it's not good that it's not like the popular subject anymore, but in the other hand, all these drama is a little bit down, so people are not anymore stressed out about it. ChatGPT and other artificial intelligence tools like Midjourney, for instance, is developing, and in some sense gives us the feeling that they taking over the market, basically taking away the jobs from artists. And I think there is some reason to be concerned about. But in the same time, I think it's very good thing. And to understand this phenomenon about artificial intelligence, we probably have to look back in the history. These kind of turning points, even in art, these kind of turning points are happening like a couple of times in the history. Let's say starting from, if we're talking about like the literature, it's starting with the printing press invention, which destroyed the calligraphy. The second great change happened with the invention of photography. Before photography, art was busy of doing lots of documentation work. Portraiting was absolutely monopolized by artists. And since the photography came, this monopoly of the portraiting was taken away from artists. A similar situation was when the cinema came and the theater decided, well, there is no point for making theaters anymore, because you film it once and then you can just copy and show everywhere in the world. And similar thing happened with the video and cinema. So basically the next stage, when the home video came, so the cinema as a place where you're going to watch the movie, and the cinema industry decided, well, this is probably the end, because everybody can make a movie, everybody can be director of their own movie. So these kind of situations when new inventions or scientific kind of discoveries disrupted the market happen time to time, and same thing happened with artificial intelligence. And of course there is so much emotions about it, so we think maybe about disruption, thinking about it, looking via this I call it the lens of experience we have at the moment, because we can't really imagine the things before they actually happen, or at least similar things happen that we already experienced. So all the predictions kind of are based on our experience. So we see the future based on our own experience from life and thinking about how the thing will affect us. But those who was, know something about Black Swan theory, for instance, you read this book. Uh, it basically describes the phenomenon on how we think. We think about the future, and it turns out that the future will be completely different from what we expecting, and we tend to dramatize it. It will be less dramatic that we expect. Uh, Going back to the artificial intelligence and art, so I think if you are like a mature artist and you have this classical education of art, and you have to compete with artificial intelligence, I think for those people who have this classical base, it will be a bit problematic, because you can't really adjust, you can't really adapt to the new situation. And probably many of those who have this classical education, they will lose, yeah, clients, they will lose their position in the market. But the ones who are younger than 30 years, I think, yeah, so I'm already about 50 years old. So, but the ones who are kind of like 30 plus or around 30, they don't have to worry, because you will have enough time to adapt, and you will find a place in the new world. Because same mm, same like a cinema disrupted the theater world, um, and everybody was thinking that all the theaters will be closed in, like, let's say next 10 years or something. But in the end, situation, is different. So like, and almost none of the theaters, in at least in my country, have been closed since like the cinema came in early 20th century. So all the cinemas and let's say all the theaters are still there, like Opera House, and we have this National Theater, the Drama Theater. They all still there, and they still have a lot of work, and people are happy to see these like live performances and stuff. So I think it will not be as it was with the horse and the car. When the cars came, the horse carriages, they just disappeared. Basically, the invention of the car disrupted the market not as quickly. Basically, the cars came in early 20th century, but in reality, the horses from the streets and the horse carriage and the cabs disappear only after the Second World War. So basically, it was like good 30 years of changing the market. And the ones who are young and have a horse, they still had enough time to learn how to drive a car, and it's no problem. So basically, the same thing with art. So if you like to make art, nobody can take away this from you. So you will be able to do your art, even if it will be expensive and nobody can afford you, whatever. But you can still make your art. There is no way that somebody can take away your that this this pleasure of making art. Yes, there will be less customers. People maybe will not appreciate your art as it was before, and I kind of a little bit doubt about it. But you will be still able to do your art. So if we're talking about this creative and artistic side, you will be able to do your art, even though there will be a lot of artificial intelligence out there. Still, you can do your art. You can, and then you can say, yeah, but I will not be able to make my living with art. Well, you will make living from something else, and still making art. And maybe you will have much more time of doing what you like, and less worry about you have to do, because at the moment artists are doing orders, they're doing some works, they don't have time to make their own art anyways. So basically you are, you are busy, with the making something for somebody that you don't really like to do. And so many artists, they're suffering. Like there was this saying that in every in Hollywood, in every like script writer has an unfinished like book at home. So it's the same thing. You will have time to write your book. You don't have to do all these orders for people, commissions. So less commissions. Why not? Or if you still want to make a living, you can do, even if it's the artificial intelligence as a tool. You can use that as well. If you don't like, don't do it. So if you don't like artificial intelligence as a tool, don't use it. Nobody can force you to do it. So I think these fears of losing losing work or something, I think they are a little bit overestimated, and I think there is not so much ground of worry about it. And about immediate survival, art was never good tool of making living and surviving, especially in like actually never. It was never good. And when you look back, yeah, but there was this Renaissance and rich artists and stuff like that. Well, in Renaissance there was like a handful, like actually few of the artists that could make a living out of art, and even less the ones who can make a good living. Basically 90% of artists, if they trying to survive just by making art, they will always poor, always poor. And I think this time of the artificial intelligence will not be exception, that you will not become more poor than you were before, you know. And of course, if you are a good artist, and if you have a good taste, and if you have good skills, you will always find somebody who want work from you, who will appreciate your skills. So you will be always fine. No worries of worrying about that. So that was pretty much it that I wanted to tell you today. And my first recording using the webcam instead of like expensive camera, I hope is successful. And see you maybe next time.